You stand up to get something. You know exactly what it is. You can almost feel it in your hand. You walk out of the room, down the hall, into the kitchen, and then you stop. It's gone. Whatever you came here for has dissolved completely. You stand in the doorway, blinking, retracing your steps, faintly embarrassed in front of no one. And the strangest part is how total it is. Not a fuzzy memory, not a half-thought, nothing. You've done this hundreds of times. Most people assume it means they're tired or distracted or getting older. None of those are the real answer. The real answer is that you walked through a door, and the door did this to you. That's not a metaphor. For more than a decade, psychologists have been quietly studying this exact moment, the one you've lived 1,000 times and never questioned. And what they found changes how you understand your own mind. It begins with a researcher named Gabriel Radvansky at the University of Notre Dame. He wanted to know why this particular kind of forgetting happens so reliably, so he built a simple experiment. He had people pick up an object, carry it across a space, and try to remember it. Sometimes they crossed a room and stopped. Sometimes they crossed the same distance, but passed through a doorway into a new room. The distance was identical. The effort was identical. The only difference was the door. And every time, the people who walked through the doorway forgot more. He ran it again in a virtual world, on a screen, where the rooms weren't even real. Same result. He ran it where people walked back into the room they started in. The forgetting held. It wasn't the walking. It wasn't the time that had passed. It was the threshold itself. Radvansky's explanation is deceptively quiet. He calls a doorway an event boundary. Your mind, he suggests, does not record your life as one long, continuous strip of film. It can't. There's too much. So instead, it chops your experience into segments, little self-contained scenes. And a doorway is one of the clearest signals your brain has that one scene has ended and another is about to begin. When you cross it, your mind does something almost janitorial. It takes the scene you were just in, decides it's finished, and files it away. And the thought you were carrying, grab the scissors, check the laundry, say the thing, belonged to that old scene. So the moment the door closes behind you, it has been quietly shelved with everything else from the room you left. You didn't lose the thought. Your brain put it away on purpose. And here's where it gets stranger. Because this isn't really about doors at all. A psychologist named Jeffrey Sachs at Washington University in St. Louis spent years studying how we carve up experience, and what he describes is almost unsettling. At every moment of your waking life, some part of your mind is drawing invisible lines. This is one thing. Now, this is a different thing. It happens constantly beneath your awareness, segmenting an unbroken flow of reality into events with beginnings and endings. You can feel this most clearly in a film. A character is mid-sentence in a kitchen. The shot cuts. Now they are in a car across town, hours later, and you don't flinch. You understood instantly and without any effort at all that one scene had ended and another had begun. That cut is something your brain performs on your real life all day long without ever telling you. It is the quiet engine underneath the doorway. And the price of an engine that good is that whatever lived in the last scene becomes a little harder to reach the moment the cut arrives. A doorway is simply one of the most powerful lines we have ever invented, a wall with a gap in it, and the brain treats it as a chapter break. Which raises a question almost nobody thinks to ask. Where did all these doorways come from? Because for almost the entire span of human existence, they didn't exist. For hundreds of thousands of years, your ancestors lived without a single threshold. There were no rooms, no hallways, no doors to forget at. There was open grassland under an enormous sky, and later a single shelter. One dark space gathered around one fire. Life happened in a single, continuous place. The mind you have inherited, the one that files a memory away the instant you cross a boundary, was shaped in a world that had almost no boundaries to cross. And then, slowly, we built them. We raised walls. We divided the single space into many. We invented the hallway, the apartment, the office with its identical rooms. We constructed an entire civilization out of thresholds, and we now pass through dozens of them a day, each one whispering the same instruction to the brain. That's over. Let it go. We made a world full of doors and then wondered why we kept forgetting things. Once you see it this way, the forgetting stops feeling like a flaw. It's the opposite. Most of what fills a room becomes irrelevant the instant you leave it. The system that clears it away is doing exactly what it was built to do, keeping you here, in the present scene, unburdened by the last one. The forgotten errand is only the small, visible price of a mind that is constantly, gracefully letting go. And there's a quiet proof of all this, one you can test yourself. When the thought vanishes, walk back. Step into the room where it began. More often than not, it returns, intact, as if it had been waiting there the whole time. Because, in a sense, it had. You weren't recovering a lost memory. You were re-entering the scene where your brain had stored it. But the doorway is only the smallest version of something much larger. Because the same thing happens at every boundary in a life, not just the ones made of wood and hinges. Finishing a job, ending a friendship, moving out of a house you will never stand inside again. Each one is a threshold, and the mind treats it the way it treats your kitchen door. It closes the scene, and the details begin, softly, to slip out of reach. This is why you can stand in your childhood bedroom as an adult and feel that the person who once lived there is somehow no longer fully retrievable. You crossed too many boundaries to get back. So maybe your life was never the single, seamless story you imagine it to be. Maybe it's a series of rooms, and every doorway you have ever walked through, every single one, quietly closed something behind you. The small forgetting at the kitchen door is just the daily harmless echo of the thing your mind is doing to all of it. Drawing its invisible lines, ending one scene to begin the next, turning the places you have been into places you can no longer quite enter. You walked in here to get something. By the time you remember what it was, you'll already be somewhere else.